This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present a collection of fandoms and exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content, and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains spoilers from The Devil Wears Prada with mentions of Mean Girls, Drive Me Crazy, and Moulin Rouge. For full list, please see show notes. There are also mentions of homophobia and EDs.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to ACOFAE, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing the 2006 classic, The Devil Wears Prada,
which is based off of a book by Lauren Weisberger. And I think whether you're a longtime follower or a new follower and have joined us sporadically on our different episodes, I have shared that The Devil Wears Prada movie, and we are specifically talking about the movie that came out in 2006. This is one of my top 5 favorite movies. I love it so much. And it is also my example I use regularly. It is the one of the instances that I can bring up that the movie's better than the book. And I won't shut up about that, despite Vogue, what is the time of this recording? April 2026, despite Vogue recently announcing that it is their book of the month club. I still hate it. I wish I DNR'd it. I did not. I saw it through the end because I felt like I had to. And I wish I can get that time back. But I can't. But what I can get back is this conversation that Laura has so graciously welcomed us. We've been talking about how we've wanted to talk about this because ultimately what we know is Miranda Priestly is not the villain. And it's a topic I'm very passionate about. But before we really get into the vibes of everything, do you remember where you were when you first saw this? What was your experience? Please, are you going to tell me watching this episode is actually the first time?
This episode is the first time that I have sat down and watched the whole thing without commercials, without it being edited, without any sort of anything. This is the first time I sat down and my full attention for the whole movie.
This is like Mean Girls when we were talking about our Mean Girls episode because you knew all the pop culture references.
All of them. I can quote this movie. I know this movie, but I have never seen it without any breaks or without any editing. I watched this through HBO. So
I did Disney Plus. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I did this through HBO. It is new to HBO. It has the new tag on it. So I watched it through there, and I watched it 3 times through. And I have just so much to say. It was so much fun to see you in this movie. I see so much of you here. I see so much of your personality. I see so much of your life. I see so much of the aspirations. I see it all. I see Anne Hathaway perfecting the Carrie Bradshaw walk through the city.
Yes, I thought about that, the montage. I was like, I feel like that prancing and just especially in the montage scene when Vogue is playing, it's like, oh my gosh, that gallop, I don't know what it's called, that walk that at some point in every young woman's professional New York lifestyle career and livelihood, there is that, maybe it's called the flounce in the walk that we try to emulate at one point. It's so crazy.
It's that. And now watching this truly with my full attention as a full adult was just so wonderful because her boyfriend and her friends are the enemy. And I have to say that this movie for me ends as soon as Miranda says, everyone wants to be us. I can just turn it off. I can turn it off right there because I have never, and Jessica Marie, you will understand this because we've been talking a lot about female rage. I have never felt more rage for a character in a movie. In a movie that I relate to the character, like I would want to be. I've never felt more rage than I did when she got out of that car and ran away.
And threw the phone in the fountain?
I've never felt such boiling white hot rage at a person. What are you doing? What are you doing? It was absolutely like I was just disgusted with every single decision except giving Emily the clothes. Every single decision I was just disgusted with from there on out. It was fascinating as an adult to feel this revulsion towards this one decision that like has nothing to do with me. I am not in this movie. I just don't want to see a woman go back to that man who's going to Boston, but you just got a job. We'll get there. Here's the last thing I'll say before we get into your experience with this movie, Jessica Marie, is that I do to an extent appreciate folding for Adrian. You know what Adrian does to me. He's so hot.
I mean, this is Drive Me Crazy, Adrian. This is Entourage, Adrian. This is peak Adrian. Like,
you know, he's like the ideal for me in this era. Like he's so fucking hot. So I get, he's just a chef. He's just a chef that cannot cook grilled cheese. I get
that grilled cheese was burnt. And you're gonna complain about your $8 worth of Jarlsberg. Okay, I'm already mad about you wasting that $8 of Jarlsberg because you burnt that fucking grilled cheese.
He's a chef. Why are you bitching about her hours? You're a chef.
And a shitty one at that, because what do you mean that you're a chef in New York and you already she just got out of work. She got out of work on time at 7 and your restaurant is closing. Some chef you are. If you're trying to make it as a chef in New York, I'm pretty sure those chefs and Bourdain and like would say to this, you have a secondary shift at like the hottest spots. Yeah. And that's going to be, you're at the tail end, if you're out at 7, you're at the next one from 9 to 4 at least.
Yeah. So what the fuck? Okay. Anyway, Jessica Marie, this is one of your favorite movies of all time. Tell us about it.
Well, I feel like it's interesting because this movie came out in 2006 and it was also a very different work culture. I mean, it was very like peak. This is when people started having like the girl boss phrase started really entering the chat. And I think it was also a time that you see it being romanticized a lot on socials right now. It was a 2000s version of New York that people were promised that does not exist today. You work hard, you play hard, and you get so many benefits. I mean, I loosely took notes. I kind of just watched on the vibes, but I took things that I wanted to like remember that this is very much an industry that I am adjacent to. So the late night parties, going for, doing an errand real quick, grabbing a car, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to stay for an extra drink. The schmoozing of it all is still very much alive and well, except now it's still very much work and less about the schmooze. But it was romanticized in a way that like, that was the dream. Like you see it in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. You see it in 13 Going on 30. There was a whimsy to it all. And I think Stanley Tucci, he stands out so much in this movie too, because this is essentially her first job. This is Andy's first job out of college, right? And if she took a traditional path, which we're led to believe, she's probably like 21, 22, just graduated. She moved to the city with no job. Again, this is how like there are some fantastical elements with her chef boyfriend who have a gorgeous place downtown. She has parents because they said, hey, we don't want you to get behind on rent. So she's already set up to have this privileged life that they can afford. That is a gorgeous apartment because you see a living room in the background at one place. They have a sitting area in front of the kitchen and they have their one bedroom with like their French style doors and a bathroom. maybe 2. I think they have an ensuite and the guest. So they are already doing pretty well off. So let's assume that she's 21, 22, and she doesn't have a job. So she's in the city looking. It's very like boots on the ground because apparently email doesn't work. I thought people were texting then. I don't know. But I like that Stanley Tucci's like, you're not even trying. What do you mean you don't know? You have your note that says your interview is with Elias Clark. You didn't do any research on Elias Clark. You don't even know what you're applying for. You don't even know that if that's the parent company, what are some of the subsidiaries and other verticals? And like, that is the parent company. So what other things are under there? And the book is even worse, but Stanley's like, you're not even trying. Nigel is very much like, you're complaining about it the whole day. And now you want a cookie when you do something right. All you're doing is bitching about it. And he says it from the get-go, too. I love him. I have such an appreciation for him. Like, I see myself in so many different characters at different career journeys. And, like, it's just so interesting. Like, what was your first take? And, like, I mean, it's the opening montage. We have Suddenly I See, which I feel like that song, everybody associates that song with this opening montage. And there's a few montages we get in this movie, too.
Yeah, except one that matters. I'm so glad you brought that up. We get so many montages in this movie. The one that I was waiting for, the one that I've always been waiting for, is the one where Stanley Tucci kind of reads her for filth and says, you're not trying. And instead of her being like, oh my God, give me a makeover, she goes, oh my God, give me a makeover. And then she goes to the library and pulls out all the archive fashion big books and sits there and learns about fashion and does her research because she's a research journalist. She's an investigative journalist, and she pulls magazine articles and she watches old runway footage and she pulls archival. I was waiting for that montage where she actually does her job that she wants to do and does the investigative research on the industry that she has been put into. But she doesn't do that. That never, ever happens. She walks away from the industry. I am getting boiling rage thinking about it now. But that missing montage kind of shows the direction that the movie was going to go, because that would be like a pivotal piece, right? Like, well, and true to the book, it's like she wanted everything on a silver platter handed to her. And the book was very much like that too. And I think and I mean, if you thought that Andy was insufferable at any point, I mean, here's the thing. The movie also makes Andy very likable at some point. I mean, no, you don't have your learning montage, but you do see at some point, okay, she is putting in some effort at some point. Again, we have the end of the book, the end of the movie, which we will get to. But the book, there is that nothing was gained. The character didn't learn anything. She kept bitching about it the entire time. And yes, the grass is always greener in certain situations. Yes, a million girls would kill for her job. And it's okay if this job wasn't for her and she used it as a stepping stone. But again, I don't know. I don't even want to say in my grown age, because you're familiar where both of our situations were at 21 and 22, and we were working our asses off. We were working our asses off. And even if it was you know what, this is just a temporary thing for a long-term goal, or this is a temporary solution for a long-term fix, that was always a thing. And to see that Andy doesn't even say I can't even tough it. You might not like your job, but you weren't being abused. She really wasn't. And being that Elias Clark was the parent company, you knew there were all of if anybody knows anything about Condé Nast, which is the parent company of Vogue, there's other publications under that umbrella. So staying internal, if you wanted to apply internally, as anybody knows, it's harder to get in. And once you're in somewhere that has a parent company like that, your internal movement is a little bit easier than trying to start from scratch on the outside. And the fact that she didn't do that, I'm my mind is still blown. There's a lot of infuriating things. Let's talk about the boyfriend. You got an interview at a fashion magazine? Talk down less. I got a job. I got an interview in New York City, which is already the city that is so hard to get an interview because people come to New York to look for those jobs.
And now you're living here. You should just be glad she's about to pay rent.
And then what does he say after? Was it an in-person interview? And she's like, don't be a jerk. Yeah, Adrian, what are you doing? What are you doing? So immediately to the audience, he's the villain. Like, right? Like, am I crazy about that? Like, no, he's the villain. And it is established right there when he is making fun of his girlfriend in public in front of their friends. And she looks at him and says, don't be a jerk. He's the villain.
And also in 2006, I think the conversation of just like a feminist conversation wasn't necessarily at the forefront of a lot of conversations yet. So I feel like people still aren't thinking that he's the villain. I think that they're just like, she's just trying to be like, oh, it's going to work itself out. I do think that. I think it's 2006 and people were like, it's still romance, right? There has to be a romance storyline.
I don't know. I do feel like the men are particularly mean. Stanley Tucci's very mean.
He's like, so mean. He's so mean.
The men are very mean for kind of no reason. And then
Simon Baker, his character, when he's like, you're not going to make it. Excuse you.
The men are very mean.
They are.
And I don't know if that's to like the juxtaposition of like Miranda, she's mean, and like that, and that kind of Andy later when she's like, well, if she were a man.
That's what I was just going to say. She redirects her conversation. She goes, Miranda is tough, but if Miranda were a man, no one would notice anything about her except how great she is at her job. And she's not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's kind of that. So I'm not sure why the men are so particularly mean. And I don't feel like Miranda's mean. She doesn't yell. She doesn't scream. She doesn't, cuss. She doesn't do anything. So,
I think, and the assistant level, she has two assistants. She essentially has like an executive assistant. And then it's like the executive assistant, Emily, has an assistant, which is Andy. And again, like assistant roles are different in so many industries. I don't even want to say like my industry, all the assistants I have a boss, like my direct report when I was an assistant, I would tell that person and go, oh, I'm going to run and grab coffee. Do you need anything? And that person was very much like, help yourself. But if I ever need anything, I will get it myself. And it was really just he never set that precedent for me. As I was a new assistant. And then even when I was taken under the team, this person was very much like, it was never this is Jessica. This is our team's new assistant. It was this is Jessica. She's new to the team. So, right. I feel like that set me up for success as an assistant, even though I knew my role, the team knew my role. But that helped kind of level the field in the relationships that we were going to be having, and knowing that I was this person's second in command, not second in command, but that I would be assisting this person. They knew, like the people I was associating with knew, okay, this is going to be an important person we need to be aware of.
And I like, obviously, Emily Blunt is fantastic in this. She's everything. Like she's everything. She's wonderful. She's amazing. And I love the introduction, like, oh, HR has to have a sense of humor. I love, I can't even talk about who this is. She's amazing. All of her lines are fantastic. I love the introduction. I love their friendship. I love how it ends at the end. That's the only thing I love at the end. And I really do enjoy how she kind of really schools Andy very quickly. I feel like that's very real life, like on the job training, like answer the phones, figure it out, do this, do this, do this. Like, this is how you're going to learn. She wants to talk to you, all of this stuff. I find that Miranda as a boss is very similar to me and how I kind of run when I get up in the morning. I have a bunch of like tasks in my head that I just need to get out. So sometimes I wake up and like editor Sam is like doing stuff in the house and I see him and I'm just like, okay, this, and this. And let's talk about the day. And he's just like, hey, wait, I just got up. It's like, okay, but like these things are important and we need to address them.
And you've been up for hours. What is that? I know there's that, I don't even want to say a meme, but there's that clip of Kris Jenner. She goes, it's 7 a.m. What is everybody doing? Like
Yeah.
she's notorious. She goes, I've been up since like 4:45. This is 7 o'clock is basically lunchtime.
I mean, she's not wrong. That's kind of how my day runs. So it's interesting when we meet Miranda and she's just like rattling off this list of all these things to Emily and she's writing it down. It's like, oh, I do that. That's probably pretty stressful. But that's just kind of like how I organize things. That's just how it is. So it was fun to see it this way and kind of do a little bit of self-reflection and to see Andy kind of panic and not know, she's an investigative reporter. She's supposed to have that little fucking notebook with her all the time to take notes.
I go back to, what do you mean you don't know who you're having an interview with?
Oh my God. Don't even get me started on that. That's crazy. And then to not go home after that first day and just do a crash course.
Yes.
Where's that montage?
Especially after, like, it's not that they called you back. You were in the lobby and then you were brought on. Now I want to know, okay, well now I'm here. Now I gotta get up to speed really quick. It's like they completely, and it's what they say when you get accepted to like Ivy League schools. Like you're used to being top of your class at all these other things. And then when you go to an Ivy League, you have everybody who is at the top of their class at in those programs. And and Northwestern is known as a school of journalism. They are renowned for what they create and who they create. So she was used to being at the top of her class in Northwestern. And here she is in arguably the number one media centric city in the world, working with a press outlet. And it's like, what, that flew out the window?
Yeah. The way that you were describing the book, though, that tracks, right? She wouldn't do that, right? Like the character in the book would not take the time to do the extra research on that.
No. The character in the book was like, I mean, when I say insufferable, and it's not one of those things where I was reading the book where, and maybe if you've never been in any of these roles and you're like if you're just reading this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is what it would be like. The people who are in these roles, and working at these companies, it didn't just fall into their lap. There was, you don't casually come into these roles. There is a level of passion and at least minimal foundational knowledge of what you're walking into. And again, it's 2006. The internet existed. So why is everybody operating on this analog, with the exception of the fashion designer sketches, because Procreate didn't exist yet. Or an iPad, I don't think. And
there is text messaging, because when we meet Miranda, they say that her driver texted Emily to let them know that she was coming early. So the text messages do exist. We're just running around on the phones, faxing things.
Faxing things and using T9.
For fun, for shits and giggles. Okay. So let's go through the cerulean sweater, because that's just like the perfect kind of summary of how Andy is fucking up, right? First of all, the onion bagel. What are you doing? Onion bagel? That's in the beginning of the movie, but it still sticks out in my mind. Did someone eat an onion bagel? Yes, you're going to go talk. In an
interview. I'm not eating anything.
Are you kidding?
Mince. I'm not eating anything until that interview is over. And that has always been my rule of thumb.
Yeah. So already I needed to get that off my chest. But this cerulean moment, famous, obviously, for so many reasons, but also just shows like her contempt. And I don't know if that's because everyone has been calling her ugly all day. And like, she's just like, enough, like an ugly skirt convention, right? But I don't know. I would die before I snorted
to scoff
in front of my boss, who is in front of other people. She's already corrected. Like, my name is not Emily, it's Andy. Like, already don't do that. But also to sit there and go, And then to keep talking and admit your complete ignorance about all of it is just like, there's a few moments in here that are so cringe that I have to just grin and bear it. This is one of them. Because when she just keeps talking about how I'm just kind of new to this stuff, I am dying in my skin.
It's the condescension.
Yeah.
And I think I have that problem still with some people that I've crossed paths with in the industry where they've scoffed at this thing that I love. I mean, we've shared with listeners, I work in entertainment full time, and there are people that I've come across where they scoff at it. There's condescension, and it's this thing that I love. So I'm like, in my head, I'm very much look, if you don't like it, you can leave. Like, this is something that people are passionate about. People create, it is a level of storytelling. You don't have to like it, but there are a million people who will never see the rooms that we get to be inside. And for you to just, again, be condescending about this thing, where do you get off? You know, if it's not important to you, it's important to somebody. And that's the moment that, again, Miranda, her famous cerulean speech, all this stuff, this thing that you're speaking down upon, what you're wearing in this room, we decided it because you still snagged that because it was left over because it wasn't good enough anymore. It's so many seasons. You think you're better. You're thinking you're higher than now. And it's just so true to think less of it. And again, Nigel brings it up later also to say, what you wear is arguable. It is a form of art. You wear it every day. People make statements. People use this as an outlet, as a medium, and you still see it in the conversations today. I mean, we talk about it with purity culture that's happening in politics. People, like, even with like economic troubles, you have the hemline effect. Fashion is used, is political.
Let's talk about our friends.
Such issues with the friends. You think you have a problem with the boyfriend? I have a bigger problem with the friends.
The friends are terrible. They're like shockingly horrific. I wonder if they read the script and were like, okay, I'm going to just be a pure asshole now. Like, that my character is asshole. Great. I'm going to play it that way. Absolutely shocking. Kind of endearing the first time you meet him. A little bit. Second time, when she comes with presents. Oh, I would have hit them. Or no, I would have thrown some drinks.
Yeah.
I would have thrown some drinks.
And take back every single thing that I just gave you. Because in the first time, again, the friends are endearing. Yes, we're like dismissive of the boyfriend, but it's their first cheers to each other because they're like, okay, we all just kind of collectively graduated to jobs that pay the rent. And you're like, okay, that's fair. We're all 21, 22 in New York. We all have jobs and we're able to afford this drink at the local bar. Not even afford it. You're at the boyfriend's restaurant who probably got you 50% off those drinks. So great. We all have a job. We all can pay half price drinks in New York. Let's live life. That second time, she's taking the new Marc Jacobs that she said they said they were equating it, which a lot of times you shouldn't look up the prices because there are caps. You can't just receive gifts. But there are times that you can accept a gift if it's from your boss, you know? This is the new Marc Jacobs. It's sold out everywhere or you can't even find it. Here's this new piece of technology. Somebody have it. I just gave you a shitload of things. And you're hiding your phone from me. I can do these things for you because I know you know my story recently from January. I was away and I was taking my niece somewhere and my boss called me on a Saturday night and we were at this location and I gave my niece a heads up and I said, hey, I need to take this phone call. I took the phone call. I go, I have to do something tomorrow. It'll be for an hour and then we can continue on our vacation. And why can we continue on our vacation? And she said, because you took a phone call from your boss. I said, yes, that's exactly what it is. Because she means I can do these things with her because I took my phone call from my boss. That's the same level. I was like, you have your Marc Jacobs. You have your tech. You have all of this. Give me back my fucking phone.
Yeah. I can't believe they were playing hot potato with her phone. It is just
disrespectful.
Horrendous. I would have ripped that bag out of her hands.
Yes. With her stuff in it. You're not dumping it on the table.
All of her stuff in it. It said, whatever, come get, like, fuck all of you. But also there's no conflict resolution because she shows up right as rain to her gallery opening, like kiss, 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 kiss. Lovely, lovely. No resolution there. They're all, and even the one that's in the closet is like, you think like he's going to be the one, like, oh, he's going to stand up for her. Like he understands, and he fucking doesn't.
And he doesn't. And I will say there's like a level of homophobia in this that I do not like, because the group of friends are always questioning how he knows certain things. And then they would make a backhanded comment. And I was like, oh, you were scaring me. What do you mean you know these designers? And it's like, I hope he found himself. I hope he found a group of people that he felt like, because it's comments like that do, it's not even from 2006.
Yeah.
They still do now, that keep people from like, and this is why I haven't said anything to you. You are not a safe person. And that group of friends, which we clearly know are not safe people to each other.
No, not at all. Not even in the slightest. Like,
because here's the thing. I know we don't like the boyfriend. I'm not discrediting that. But I think more often than not, sometimes college relationships don't last, and it's okay for people to go on their separate ways. Totally fine. People grow, but the friends, and we've had this conversation, especially as women, we're always taught that, your romantic relationships will come and go, but your female friendships are going to be, and your friendships are going to be what kind of help carry you through those, those sadness that happens with the romantic relationships. So I expect more from the friends than I do from the boyfriend.
Of course, it's not all men, but it's always men, right? And we should rely, and she's so awful to her, because when she catches the like little baby kiss in the gallery, she's like, I've known you for 16 years and I don't know this person anymore. It's just like, okay.
Meanwhile, how many times I would be like, you know what? I'll always say, like, I'll be in her corner. I might not agree with what you're doing, but I'll still be like, but I'm team Andy. You figured your shit out though.
But she's obviously team Adrian,
boyfriend,
whatever the fuck his name is. Whatever the fuck his name is. Team him, because like, what the fuck?
Like, it felt very like, are you his friend?
Yeah,
like it's just a friend she adopted, but that's his friend.
Yeah, it was icky. Okay. Questions, Jessica Marie. I have for continuity, and I have about the Emily betrayal. I have so much to say about that whole thing. So, okay, continuity. In the beginning of the movie, after the Calvin Klein skirts, after that montage, but before Andy gets yelled at, but before Andy's makeover, okay, Andy has to go get scarves from Hermes. Right. Later, Emily has to go get scarves from Hermes, and she gets hit by a taxi. Okay. I am just wondering, why do we need double?
I was thinking that this watch too. I was like, didn't she already get them? But we also know,
long time.
Right. And I'm still trying to get the timeline, but we know that was at the beginning of the movie. And then at one point, that was like day one, I think. And at one point, there is an exchange. I mean, this is me thinking logically. Nigel and Irv is on the board of Elias Clark, say, oh, I heard we're redoing the shoot. Miranda didn't like it. And he was like, how much is that setting me back? And they said, well, it's going to be like another $300,000 budget. And he was like, man, that previous thing must have been shit. So like, maybe that's the loophole. Like, oh, okay, well, like, that makes sense. 300,000. It's pushing us back in production. It's pushing us back in ad sales. That probably has to go into like a different long lead issue. And then, I mean, to like talking it out, it could have been for that, or it could have just been the way people's sales associates call them up for a new Kelly all the time. I don't know, but maybe that's it.
And here's where I'm going with it. So the whole, like, I guess, turning point where Andy realizes that she doesn't want to be like Miranda is the whole Emily Paris thing. So Emily gets hit by the taxi. Emily can't go to Paris, right? Like, right. Like, we see her later. She's got a busted leg. She's all fucked up. Like, Emily can't go to Paris. So technically, Andy had to go anyway in her place because she is hurt and can't go. So she didn't really have to tell her that she was going to go anyway.
It's also not on Emily to tell another employee that.
It's not at all. Yeah, that comes from the top. Yeah.
And yes, I agree with you that she wasn't going to. It happened before.
Yeah.
She had to say anything. I agree with that. So then I was like, oh, well, since you can't go, because then it could have also saved, if Miranda should have been the one to deliver it, or Nigel's her second in command. Mm-hmm. But if that were the case, then it could have been redelivered differently. This is where, like, there's malice involved that they wanted her to know, but it could have been completely avoided. It's also 2006. Clearly, work balance health culture didn't exist. She straight up had the flu and was expected to be at work still. Working remote didn't exist. They would just close their laptop, close their desktop, go home for the day. So I don't know if there was going to be an expectation of, like, Emily scooting around to Paris, but I also think Miranda's pride is too big where she would not have allowed that either. So it would have always defaulted to Andy.
And then Andy didn't technically need to tell her that Miranda put her up for it. She just could have said, like, hey, you're hurt. I'm going in your place. Like,
yeah. No, but this is where the malice is involved because she wanted her to hurt. And
I just wanted to run that by you.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah, it's just unnecessarily vicious.
Yeah, because then it would have, again, and if it fell onto Andy, it could have been its own storyline where Miranda goes, oh, so you told Emily I didn't want her to go. That would have been the Miranda moment. She's like, no, she said I got in a car accident. It had nothing to do with you didn't want me to go. Then at which point I still, like, that's the only, like, bad, like I say, villainy thing that Miranda did.
So kind of to build on this then, if we are both in agreement that Emily was never going to go to Paris, then that invalidates Miranda's, like, argument in the car where she's like, you've already betrayed Emily. That didn't happen.
No, she never did.
But
this is a moment of corporate politics where they start to pin women specifically against each other in the workplace. Mm-hmm. That is a thing. There is a lot of he said, she said, she said, she said. It is something that's still very much alive and well unless you hash it out directly with the person.
I would like to pick your brain about the logistics of something, and that is Andy's, like, makeover scene. Okay. She's made over. She goes into the closet with Nigel. He goes, none of this will fit you. The diet culture here is nuts. It is nuts.
Both ED and disorder eating are so bad.
Nigel is so mean to her. She's a 6. She says that she's a 6 over and over and over again. And he is like, well, you're not a double, 000. You're not a 2. Like,
yeah, you're not. The 6 is the new 14. You're having chowder that's cellulite. Where and Emily's like, she eats carbs. She doesn't deserve to go. Tell you one of the things that I loved. That was, like, one of the things that I was terrified about working in entertainment was the diet culture until I found myself a team that were always like, looking for the next meal. Oh, what's going on? Well, oh, did you try this new place? Oh, there's a place around the corner. Wait, let's go for a lunch walk. Let's discover something. I'm so lucky in that regard.
So what I wanted to ask you was, when Andy is going through the closet, she's getting all of those clothes. And then from that point in the movie on, she has a fantastic wardrobe. How?
Apparently that doesn't exist anymore. Maybe at one point it did, but as somebody who does work with people in wardrobe, I currently am working with somebody who has there's 4 cameras on this one area for items that are coming in and being tracked. And you need, on top of all of those cameras, you need multiple badge accesses to and their designer. And for me to access them, I am escorted with security. So there is no way I can physically walk out. They are accounted for. So that happens here, I don't know.
So I'm just trying to understand like the logistics. So like logistically, what could she do? She would take like a rack of clothes every single week and wear them, and then bring them back?
I mean, in a way, yes, because people do put things on, like designers and stylists, they will get things on loan. I've had to send items back to be like, oh, you forgot this in the dressing room. They're like, okay, just like messenger.
An assistant would be able.
Oh, no, you're just kind of like Lauren Conrad did in The Hills, where she flew from LA to New York, dropped something off and come back. You're not wearing those things. Yeah.
So that's why I'm just like, okay. So her and the wardrobe, I guess I'm showing my age because I don't love any of it very much.
Any
of it very much. I don't know. It's a lot of black. It's a lot of hats. It's a lot
black
of
isn't your thing.
It's a lot of chunky necklaces, long
the green
necklaces.
peacoat.
That green dress she's in at the end.
Oh yeah, the one with the cute bustier under. Well, I think it's cute.
It's like and she's got that tweed hat thing. I just there's nobody is wearing anything that I love in this, which I thought was very interesting. But again, what I did love is the montage of Miranda dumping her purse and coat on Andy's desk. So, Jessica Marie, do you think that Miranda would struggle to get the next Harry Potter book in 2006? Like, I just don't think that would be a struggle for her. Maybe a little bit more lead time, but like that would be easy.
2006, no. 2026, now when we're having the conversation, absolutely. I think also, like, I know the internet wasn't new, but I think where it is harder to access things now, because you're like, oh my gosh, well, it's not harder, but it's like, it's easier to access things. Therefore, everything's kind of like under like tight security now because of like watermarks and leaks and internet. The internet was a different thing then. So I do think there was a level of like, yeah, we can get the manuscript. Yeah, we can get this. I mean, but again, we're in 2026. The things that we see leaked most are SJM things, and we even tried to avoid it then. And that's because like you have these publishers, right? So the publishers had to get it before then. And again, it leaks because social media exists. Social media didn't exist in the capacity that it does now. So I do think there was probably like an easier access. Again, like you said, a longer lead time. I know in some of our previous episodes, when we talk about movie making of the cult classics conversations we've had in the 90s, you knew that, okay, if something came out this year, the production was the technology wasn't there to make it so readily accessible. So in that regard, yeah, I think it would have been easier. I don't think Andy had the contacts yet, though.
No, I don't think Andy had the
she just happened to have
that
like
guy.
Simon Baker's character, Christian. He just happened to like know a person. That stuff is still like very alive and well and present now with like, who do you know that can get you here and have access there? I mean, we've had our own personal relationships with networking opportunities, specifically for the podcast, with like, hey, I know a person, would love to get you connected.
Interesting. This is also like so much fun just to kind of like talk about all these things with you, because I was just like, I just wonder like how would that like work? I don't know.
Logistically, like,
yeah.
Or is it like, because there is a lot of crossover with what I do and these outlets.
Yeah.
And like how these like, the crossover of it all. It's very like hand in hand.
Is she renting the clothes? Did she have to like sign like a little lease on that? Like,
and I don't know if like, obviously like rental services like Rent the Runway and these like Newly and all of these other services, they didn't even exist yet, because again, the internet wasn't what it is now in 2006. It was used for investigative journalism.
Investigative journalism, I guess. Yeah. So just really, really fun stuff here. Again, that grilled cheese, I can't get it out of my mind. I just terrible. Do you think that like everybody on set was like, burn it, make him a bad chef? Like, it's such a like creative decision to like actively burn the shit out of that grilled cheese.
Well, and it's also like they made it beforehand, so it was already pre-made. Did they? But I also know that they're and Meryl Streep was recently on Stephen Colbert, and she said the budget was different. The second you mark something as a quote unquote chick flick, your budget immediately went down from studios. So it was at a time where they did classify this as a chick flick, and they didn't have, they did not have the budget. So were they like, oh, maybe that Jarlsberg, we only made it once. That is going to be our prop grilled cheese, and that's what we're getting, because we have to use our $1 million budget for, well, it's $35 million for the whole movie, but $1 million for the clothes that Pat Fields used, not including all of the designers that like did lend things and people who had their own items.
I'm so happy that Andy got to go to Paris, because as we always say, like, you never want to be the girl that didn't go to Paris, right? Like, that is just kind of burned in our brains. So she goes to Paris. I love it. I love I guess kind of like backing up before Paris. I love that she's on a break. We're on a break. I love that she's on a break when she goes to Paris and with her boyfriend. And I agree with the boyfriend when he's like, when are you going to admit that we don't have anything in common anymore? And I was like, oh, he's spewing facts, actually, Andy. Why are we clinging to this? I know he's got the eyes and the curls, but why are we clinging to this? Like, you are being dragged down and held back because Andy's finally good at her job. And I think that this movie really highlights something that I look for in people that I surround myself with in services, like people that I go to services for. I like when they anticipate my needs. I find that very helpful. So when Andy's getting good at her job and Miranda's like, can you confirm dinner? I'm going to need to change. And Andy's like, your clothes are there. They're waiting for you. You can change. I need this. It's already done. It's on its way. And Miranda's like, you're here. You got it. You're good.
And even
Excellent.
when and that's also when she's like, it's not one big thing. It's a lot of little things that has Andy at the forefront of Miranda's mind, because it is thinking ahead. It is being on top of things. It's knowing the names, even though you just found out that you were attending a couple hours ago, this gala. And then being in the office before she even came there. That was like, I feel like that really solidified, and there was an acknowledgement. Like Andy just showed up to do her job. And also, there was an acknowledgement. We love that there. And to go back to when her and the boyfriend are like, we don't have anything in common anymore. Because she found her stride. She started to find pride in what she was doing, and she was made to feel shitty about it. And again, this goes with the lack of self-confidence that comes with you're a new grad at 21, 22, freshly out of college, and there's going to be some self-doubt. You've already were on some unsteady ground initially, and now you start questioning everything again. Like, wait, I thought I was doing good. And Nigel even said, like, when your life is going to blow up, you're ready for the promotion, which essentially she did get.
Yes.
And I just get so frustrated for her, because then she doubts everything. She's like, I thought I was doing good. And she was made to feel shitty about that too.
Yeah, she was doing so good. And the reasons where she turns around and run away aren't real. And she's throwing away all of this for her shitty friends, her shitty boyfriend, and a job that she doesn't have. And it is so bad. I love that she fucks that guy when she's in Paris. I love that. I love that she finds out this information and, hell or high water, she's going to tell Miranda. I love that. I love that she tried to warn her.
Well, that's what I was going to say with the warning her, because everybody tries to be like, you lost your values. No, she didn't.
No,
because
not at all.
she's still who she is, because she went to run and tell Miranda. She still valued and respected Miranda. So even when she's like, and the farce of an apology when she gets back from Paris and she talks to Adrian and she's just like, I betrayed my friends and my family. No, tell me where you betrayed your family. Your dad came and paid rent. Yeah. And you had dinner with, like, I'm so lost. Like, where was the betrayal? How about put it back on your friends? Where was the respect? You all just graduated. You all should be like, shit, I need to try to figure out what I'm doing and put everything into my first year and my first professional career related to how lucky they all are that they got jobs in the fields that they studied right out of college.
Something else about the boyfriend that I do kind of respect is that he is like, you look great. I don't want this. Right? Like he's like,
you're too hot for me.
Yeah. Because that's what he is. It's little dick, little bitch energy. Because she's killing it.
She's emasculated by her.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And she's going to go to Paris. Oh, well, he's thinking, oh, what the fuck's she going to do in Paris? Like, he's thinking that, right? So like,
okay. Sorry, you could not go to the Culinary Institute or wherever the most renowned chef experiences in France, but he definitely is. And at the same time, it is okay for them to grow separately.
Yeah. And he even does say something that I respect. He's like, what? You're going to say like, what, you missed my birthday and I'm not home on time and we're not having dinner together. Do you think I'm a child? This is more than that. And I did appreciate that specific thing.
That was a specific thing that I appreciated, because in a way it's the culmination of also lack of communication, because it wasn't just one big thing. It was a lot of little things, but it was a lot of little things that were never discussed or talked about. No, continue.
They have placated each other twice now with sex to kind of smooth everything over. He did it the first time and she did it the second time. She was like, what about my new bustier?
Yeah. And while bringing up the conversation, like, oh, you don't like this? You don't like this? You like all these other things about me. And also I think of like, they're not in a partnership. They're dating each other, but they're not in a partnership, because those are conversations where I understand like work trips come up, okay, for some people, but also when you are in these like budding careers, you're telling me you wouldn't be like, oh my God, that's such a great opportunity. No, you need to do that. I mean, even when you and editor Stam were at the beginning, he had opportunities to travel with what he needed to do. Please, we will work through this. This is an amazing, how often will this opportunity happen? And you do it, it's just like back and forth. And they aren't there because it's just, this is a relationship that wasn't meant to continue.
I love how both of them kind of like storm off in different instances throughout the movie, but like they live together. So he's like walking off. It's like, okay, well, wait up. Like, wait up. Like, we're going to the same place. Like, hang on. Like, you know, it's just, when you think about it like that, it is kind of funny, kind of silly. Just the betrayal that really happens here is Nigel's betrayal. Honestly, Miranda out saving her skin really fucks over Nigel. Why don't you tell us about that?
My heart hurts for Nigel because Nigel is in a position where he's not naive enough to think that Miranda is his friend. He's not. We know this. And I don't want to say he's naive enough for this other thing, for anything else either. But there is a betrayal in, I did everything right. I played the game. And not only did I do everything right, I know my shit. I think that's the hurt that you see. Like, not only did I do everything right, I know I'm the better person for the job. And I still got fucked over. And when he has that moment with Andy, when he goes, when the time is right, I have to trust the process. And she's like, are you sure about that? He's not. And he has to say, I have to, because this is also this thing that he says, he's like, this is for like my inner child. This is me. I've always wanted this. I don't know my life without it. And I have to trust that sometimes it's the false hope, right? And that is what hurts. And then you're like, you don't want to admit defeat because you're in a room full of people and you're literally going to break, which I'm sure he did when he got back to his room. And I hope so for him. But I feel bad. And again, corporate politics isn't just for the finance bros. Corporate politics are in every industry, and it hurts. And you can be the most qualified person for the job, and that still doesn't mean that you'll have that opportunity when you think you're going to have it. And my heart is with him. I very much relate to him in so many different things too.
It is, again, though, if Miranda were a man, it would not be even a blip.
No, but I think the conversation still would have happened. Mm-hmm. I think switch the genders. If Miranda he would still feel that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with her being Miranda. Mm-hmm. It has to do with corporate politics that are at play.
And I don't like how they pit the French head of the magazine and Miranda against each other as well. There's a lot of that in this movie. But
well, yeah, it's a lot of like pitting women against each other. But that's the part where this time I was watching, because I always felt that they were pitted against each other. But there's something that Emily says at the gala where she goes, so-and-so is, Jacqueline is here. Miranda hates her. There's no conversation that Jacqueline hates Miranda. For all we know, is there, or you're nodding your head?
I'm nodding your head. There is no conversation.
Oh, okay.
It's like as far as we know, it's one-sided.
Right. For all we know, Jacqueline is in the French office and she's like, she looks up to Miranda. Miranda is somebody I want to emulate. She's been in this industry forever. Why wouldn't I have this respect for her? So I do feel like in this watch where I'm like, yes, they're pitted against each other, but like they're pitted against each other for us as the viewer. And then she's like, oh my gosh, here's this opportunity that Miranda put me up for. This is who I look up to. I can't believe. So if we want to use that angle, we could assume that Jacqueline is naive enough to think like, oh, this is my mentor. She's really in my corner.
Which, is its own thing, honestly. That's its own movie. its own horror movie. That's a horror movie. So we've kind of really set everything up. We're at Paris. Everything's happening at Paris. We have slept with our reporter. We have warned Miranda. Miranda has betrayed Nigel. We are in the car. And we're having the conversation. Jess has her head in her hands.
I have so many things I'm so frustrated for. Like, first I'm like, yes, we slept with a reporter. And then I'm also like, Andy, he's a reporter.
He's a reporter. It's
Nothing
not
is
off the record.
I knew you knew where I was going with that. I'm so annoyed. I'm so fucking annoyed.
You're a journalist, Andy. Did you?
I'm so mad.
Motherfucker.
I'm so mad. Right? Like, I would never.
And he's sitting there. He's like, don't you think she's like a masochist? Don't you think she's evil? Don't you think she's a devil?
Yes. I was like, you have a wire on. You are recording something. Which is why I liked at that time Andy's choice of words where she says she is tough. However, granted, then if like they just like did a pull quote and they're like, former assistant said she's tough. Okay, well that's, still, as somebody who does work with reporters, I am so like, paper trail, can't catch me, don't, they never slip, they never fall. Like, I'm so tight-lipped that sometimes people are like, Jessica, it's not that serious. I go, don't catch me being misquoted at all. Nope.
Couldn't be me. Won't
Couldn't
catch
be me.
No.
So I'm already annoyed. But then again, we have the car conversation. Everybody wants to be us. End scene. This is like when we say Moulin Rouge.
It's over. It's over.
Close curtain.
Yeah, it's done. The movie's over.
Everybody does want to be us. 1 million girls would pay to be in your shoes.
Yeah.
We've heard it throughout the whole thing. And I also don't like this narrative. There's a couple different narratives that are happening where it's like you have to be a certain way to be in this industry. I don't like that narrative because also be the change you want to see in the world. There's a different way to navigate things. And also it's like, oh, you could only be cutthroat or everybody wants to be all this stuff. Yeah, we do. So here's an opportunity. And just learn from it and go. Like, and she's like, I wouldn't never be like that. You actually weren't.
Yeah,
you actually.
You
so
didn't.
like, even if like, say, if we're talking about like, oh, even if she did it, if she really had malice, she would not have felt guilty about delivering that information to Emily. So therefore, again, it negates I'm just like her. No, you're not. You felt bad. You felt bad to be the one to deliver it. So you still haven't changed as a person. So I don't like this narrative that people are like making it seem like Andy became this bad person.
And also the unspoken kind of narrative in here too is that Miranda is like, Andy, I see myself in you. I like kind of see myself in you. And Andy is looking at that with horror.
Yeah.
Because what she sees is a career obsessed 2-time divorcee. And she's like, I don't want to be like you. And she freaks out and runs away and leaves and throws her phone in the fountain in the middle of Paris.
Lawsuit. I hired you. You are my employer. And now you're getting paid. You're what?
No references. Absolutely not. Find your own way. Oh my God.
But you're in another country. You're in another country on your company's dime.
Amount of hubris.
Tell me.
I'm so embarrassed even thinking about it. It gives me like heart palpitations. I just can't.
And at the very least, get home. Collect on your airline miles and start looking for a job while you're getting paid.
I just can't. All right. So the movie, we already know where Jessica and I pause and end this movie because we cannot stomach this. Okay. But we're back with the boyfriend. We meet the boyfriend. Here's the thing. He's got a job in Boston. You just interviewed in New York. We're not in remote. So what's going on there? What are we doing? You can work it out, though.
I feel like it's weird. She's like so I said, it was like a farce of an apology. I was like, why is she? It's not, because she genuinely is apologizing, thinking she did something wrong, and he's taking no accountability. And I don't like that. And like, okay, yes, you were gone for a week. You used that time, be on a break. He applied for other places. But then to act like he still wanted to try to work something out, like, oh, well, now that you quit, let's try to make something work. Like, you can come up to Boston to visit me. We were only broken up for a week. Why did you start interviewing in Boston? Why didn't you keep interviewing around here in New York?
It makes it seem like she was gone way longer.
And she wasn't, because we assume, even with like the weather and the outfits, like maybe it was the fall, like Paris, like fashion week in the fall. So it was all the spring collection, but like what she was wearing and like the weather, it was very fall. It was very like September-ish. The kids had already, like timeline wise, I know it's not explicitly stated, but like at one point they're going to grandma's and it's spring break or summer break or something. So we kind of have like, we have to assume fall at some point, because she also graduated in May. This is the first, so this is where I'm thinking it's like fall fashion week. Maybe spring fashion week if they were doing spring break too. But we do have it. She hasn't been there a year, and she hasn't been graduated for a year.
Yeah.
So I don't remember him taking accountability.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And she's
like, did I blank out there?
No. And she's like, well, I have another stop too. And then she goes to her job interview. And the job interview, he is condescending about the fashion mag. He's like, what were you doing there? She's like, well, like I learned a lot. I took the blip where he was like, I almost took it as, well, that was a short stint. You're still not there. That's kind of how or that's a way that I took it. But it was like, what was going on there? You weren't there very long at a time when it's, people would be like, you should at least be somewhere for a year before you start applying to other places. Ah, see, that's interesting. I took it as like, he's this reporter being like, oh, what were you doing there? I've read your work. Like, what was that about? I took it as like a condescending on the fashion mag.
Well, maybe that's also why they made it a point where when she was really starting to like find passion in the magazine, she was like, wait, I actually did more research, and they have interviews covered with like Christiane Amanpour, like credible people. It's not quote unquote just fashion. Like this is a source, like this is like a source material for like authentic conversations. And that's where maybe the reporter was like, you worked with these caliber of people. Why for such a short time? Like, did you mess up? Why didn't you work there? She says that
she does. She goes, I screwed up there.
Yeah.
And he goes, I called there for a reference, and you have this glowing reference. She said I'd be an idiot not to hire you. And like, that's how the movie ends. One of the most frustrating movies I have ever experienced.
You mean the ending?
Yeah.
I didn't know. You're like, I hate this movie. Why is it like a top 5 movie of yours? There's a lot I learned a lot. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because it's like she learned a lot. So at the end, we're supposed to see like she's still in the pointy boots and she's got the hair and she's wearing the long necklace, but she's back in the jacket, the brown jacket, right? Like we're supposed to see like she's found herself and fashion is now, like I can be an authentic version of myself. Well, that was the other thing. It was like fashion was not authentic to her.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. I have to say that Emily Blunt and Meryl are just like my absolute favorites here. They're just glorious in everything that they do. I love that Andy gives the Paris clothes to Emily. That's like the least she can do, honestly, if she's still like not there. Right? Like,
well, and also like, I mean, aside from like, again, the disordered eating comments of like, I'm going to have to get them taken in. Like, but I think there's also this level of appreciation. She's like, you know what? I'm not going to love these the way I know somebody else will.
Also, she's not going to wear them in that office.
No. But then again, also, you don't necessarily have a job yet, right? So you're going to tell me you have all of these stuff and you're not going to try to like resell them? Because I mean, we already know you're behind on rent. Your dad just helped you and you don't have a job.
And your boyfriend's going to Boston. And your boyfriend's breaking the lease and he's going to Boston.
So now you need another source of income for that gorgeous place. Because it's not like you have like an apartment where you're like, okay, it's a 2-bedroom. I can find another roommate. You had the one roommate that you were sharing a room with.
Gotta bring it in. We gotta bring it in. This is fun.
Look, I get. Like, there has to be like one thing. Like, at least keep something.
The belt. It's like the belt. I don't know.
I don't know, but something.
Here's the last thing that I will say. I will say this is that knowing that the sequel is coming out, this is what I will say. In the trailer, Meryl does not like recognize Andy.
I can't believe we have the same note. I wanted to talk about this too.
She doesn't recognize Andy. And she's like, who are you? What, 2006. Now we're in 2026. That is not unreasonable to not remember somebody that worked for you less than a year, 20 years ago. I'm sorry. That is
and
completely...
you've never spoken to since. Spoken to since. It's not like... It's so frustrating. I mean, I think of internships, and it hasn't been that long since I've been in my internships, where I'm like... I've been like, who's the name of that person that we did this project for? And I'm the intern. And so if I'm the intern and I'm having trouble remembering like a name of somebody I worked with, I can't imagine somebody else who has a rotating door of interns and assistants or what have you.
Yeah, just like the audacity to be like, I worked for you. You don't remember me? Just sit down.
Yeah, that whole narrative where people are like, oh my gosh, there's been theories that like, does Miranda have amnesia? What do you mean? No, you were she is running Vogue, essentially. No, she does not have the capacity because she is, again, we love Miranda when they're like in their brainstorming meetings. Oh, this, that, the other thing. We know we did that 2 years ago. Oh, we did this. I had a conversation this past week at work where something similar came up, and the way I which I didn't realize till redoing the watch for this. I was like, oh my God, I just did that. I go, didn't we do something? Because we were just brainstorming something. I go, what if we followed something that we did on X project in X year, and we kind of use that for this project? It's been a long time. It's kind of elevated this, that, the other thing. And I go, is that the direction that we kind of want to go in? And it's been a long enough gap where you can do that. I was like, oh, and so when I was watching this, she goes, no, it's too close together. We just did this 2 years ago. If I can remember, it's still so fresh. So like, that's the part where I'm like, she needs her mental capacity operating to run a business, not to remember her intern and not an assistant who didn't even make the effort to keep in contact for 20 years.
Yep. That's all I had to say.
I found some fun facts. I didn't do a ton of deep diving, but one of the things was they almost didn't have Meryl as Miranda due to money. Like she was not happy with the paycheck that they were offering. But they did look at a slew of other people, including Jennifer Aniston, Kim Basinger, Cameron Diaz, Heather Graham, Angelina Jolie, Lisa Kudrow, Helen Mirren, Tatum O'Neal, Gwyneth Paltrow, Michelle Pfeiffer, Julia Roberts, Meg Ryan, Alicia Silverstone, Hilary Swank, and Naomi Watts, which I can't think of anybody from that list who could possibly play Miranda the way Meryl does, except for maybe Helen Mirren. So that alone, I can see her spin on it, but I can't imagine anybody else.
No, I can't imagine anybody has the aura, right? Just
Right. And it's like Ryan Reynolds has said, you're Helen fucking Mirren. So that's where I'm also like, it's Helen Mirren. Of course she can do it. interesting enough, at the opposite of Meryl, Anne Hathaway was the 9th choice of Andy. And they offered it, which also makes sense. They offered it to Rachel McAdams 3 times, and she turned it down 3 times. Which obviously we have Anne Hathaway. The production took 57 days to do the whole thing, and then the final cut of this film was in 3 weeks. There was a $35 million budget. And we have the original director from the first one is on the second one. And then although Pat Field is retired, Molly Rogers, who was her, second in command on this, she is lead costume designer on the second one. So I think that is really cool. What kind of did you find fun facts, or did you just kind of rock with it?
I just went with it. And because I watched it on HBO, there is no sort of anything to give me any fun facts. Again, the people yearn for pop-up video. They yearn for it.
It's how we all have random pop culture knowledge our entire life. We're like, did you know? It's why they have trivia nights, because of pop-up video.
Yeah, the people yearn for pop-up video. So no, HBO does not have that feature. HBO, what are you doing? And also, so much of this has permeated pop culture. I mean, half of this movie is TikTok audio. So that I think has put a new spin on some of this, because I am sure there is a generation of people that have never even heard of this movie that know all of those sound bites. So
100%. Or I think of our Kill Bill episode where I was like, wait a second. All of these references are from this. And again, this movie is 20 years old, which is so exciting. Where are you on the second, on the release of the second? Are you excited? Are you I feel like there never should be a second one, for this instance. But that being said, I know there's a lot of excitement around it, and you're like, well, let's go with it. It could be good.
I feel the same way about the second Devil Wears Prada that I did about the second Hocus Pocus, which was
not very promising.
Which was, this could be so good in theory, but I don't want to see it be bad.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm at the time of this recording, at the time of this release of this episode, I'm very excited for Gaga songs. I'm very excited for the Gaga song. So, I think, like you said, it can go so well. It could go so good, or it can go so bad. I think even if it's good, nothing will replace the first one.
Yeah.
I think you can have a good second one. I feel like Toy Story is the only franchise that I can think of off the top of my head where the second one is could arguably be the better one.
Sister Act, Back in Habit.
Oh yeah, Sister Act 2. That is another one. So it's they're, in TV, it's, sometimes it's kindly referred to as the second season slump. And it's not to say that lightning can't strike twice. Clearly, we just gave 2 examples. So you just hope, you're like, you know what? Managing expectations. Just like a book. You gotta hope you go in for it, but gotta kind of manage.
Just as my closing question to you, Jess, did you know that the book was not good when you went into it, or were you crushed?
I was crushed. I didn't know anything about the book. I only knew that the movie was based off the book, and knowing how much I loved the movie, and knowing the book is always better crowd, and very firmly in that crowd, I thought I was going to get an extension of a world that I already loved. So I thought I was just going to get more of that. And it is the one book where I use as an example regularly. And I actively say, if you can avoid it, don't read it. But that being said, feel free to follow us on Instagram. We're at ACOFAE Podcast. We're both on TikTok also, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. And as always, please feel free to rate us 5 stars on any listening platform. We'd greatly appreciate it. We'll talk to y'all soon. That's all.
That's all.